Hi again. Just a short video in my series of Garmin Edge Unit user tips and reviews, giving you a quick guide today of the new Garmin hazard reporting system for cyclists, recently unveiled on their new flagship head unit, the Edge 1050, but now being rolled out to the 40 series head units on software update 24.18. This news, I know, will be an annoyance for some. As a 1040 solar owner, I'm pleased to see the new features being cascaded down to my head unit. It's a sign of something, I guess, that the trickle-down effect doesn't stretch even to the not that old technology of the 30 series. Maybe I should add a yet to that sentence, but well, we'll see. If you're familiar with the Waze car navigation app already, you'll totally get how this works, as it's very similar to the hazard reporting on that. I remember being blown away when I first used Waze at how accurate it was with reporting hazards, which is down to data constantly being obtained and uploaded by users, which makes me also wonder how the hell they ever got it off the ground when it needs that data from users, and they would have started off with 0 users. So with Garmin, there's already a huge user base, so it's not the same issue here. But it'll take a while for this new feature to be perfected as people get the hang of using it, and with many cycling Garmin users not yet possessing a head unit that supports the feature. Accessing the feature needs to be quick and easy, or it just won't be used, and it's definitely simple. During the ride, by tapping your screen, which presently brought up the blue icon here to transfer to your home screen, there's also now an orange hazard icon. If you're a 1050 owner, you'll have a third bell icon to ding that virtual bicycle bell that you now have. This takes you to the hazard reporting screen with 5 categories to choose from. First we have animal, which might be an angry cyclist hating dog, a sheep or a horse wandering in the road maybe. But in saying that, I'd point out that this is for reporting a hazard in a specific place. So when you slow right down to pass a couple of people riding their horses in the lane, don't be reporting that as an animal related hazard, as they'll soon be nowhere near that spot and on a different lane in no time. Now we have obstruction, and the graphic of a falling tree points us to the scenario of a storm-stricken tree lying across the road. I'd add to that anything that is blocking your way, like a flooded lane that you feel is impassable. I honestly think we shouldn't use this just because we see road closed signs, as we've probably all come across these, where the message is clearly to warn wide motor vehicles and it's easily passable for a cyclist who can quickly become a pedestrian pushing a bike in seconds quite easily. Next, the cyclist's favourite, potholes. 2 things I say on this one. Certainly on the roads and lanes that I ride on, I'd be constantly inputting hazards on my head unit if I did this with every pothole, so maybe worth confining these to particularly bad ones, or ones that maybe for some reason aren't easily spottable immediately after a bend, for example. I'd also use this for any place where the surface isn't as it should be, so ruts in the road, or where roadworks have temporarily taken the surface away, leaving a bumpy, rutty surface waiting for the road to be resurfaced. Onto slippery, and this is where I might report mud, oil, gravel on the road, and also one for those sunny winter rides where the sun's melted the overnight ice away, but you're left with the occasional lane which is in permanent winter shade. So unlike the road so far on your ride, it's still icy and possibly unexpected. And finally, a category, which is basically everything else. I guess you might put road closed signs here, where you were still able to get through, with care, of course. And I suppose what generally would go in this section won't really be apparent until you come across a hazard. I'm sure some of you can come across suggestions in the comments, like maybe glass lying in the road, for example. I imagine the question might be asked regarding the lack of more detail. Okay, I see ahead there's an animal icon on my map, but is it a herd of cows, is it a rabid dog, or a dead fox across the middle of the road? The fact is that if the user had to go through further steps to type in more detail or make further selections, it would make the feature clumsy and force you to stop while you type stuff in. The reality is then that no one will use it. It has to be quick and simple, and it's done its job by just alerting you to a potential hazard so that you take more care as you're expecting something at least. You don't really need to know what kind of animal it was, surely. If you're planning a route on Garmin Connect, by the way, as long as you have view hazard selected, you'll see them on the map, so you can plot around them if you want to and click on them to see what they are. So I found this patch of road and found it slippery. It's not that slippery really, but I'm struggling to find any hazards on this ride, but I'll tell you in a minute why I chose this category. So it's a quick fire process. You can do while you're on the move. Tap the screen, choose a hazard icon, select the type of hazard, and click on report on the bottom right. And that's it. You'll see very soon, in fact almost immediately there, the information's gone to Garmin Cloud and a little red triangle has appeared on the map screen and will appear to all users on their screen that have this enabled. It takes about 40 seconds to appear on other people's Garmin screens, but you know, that's still pretty damn good. The reason I chose this slippery category as an example is down to the expiry times allocated to each category. If no votes are given by any users during that time, the hazard disappears off the map. Any votes confirming the hazard extend the time. I would imagine that would be by resetting the start time, and a vote confirming the hazard isn't present reduces the time, although I've been unable to find out so far by how much. Any help with that out there would be welcome in the comments below. Animal and pothole hazard warnings have a 180-day expiry, which seems a long time for the animal warning. Surely that'll mostly be a short-term thing. I imagine these will be tweaked as time goes on, as we start using it more and more. Potholes though, I'm sure the cynic in all of us will say that 180 days isn't nearly long enough. But if it gets confirmed by other cyclists, it'll stay alive forever until the damn things are filled in. Others are 7 days and 30 days, and you'll see why I chose slippery, as this has a 1-day expiry date. So my false report will be gone before anyone has probably seen it anyway. And hopefully I won't be shouted down for doing that. A reported hazard that isn't there might be pointless, but it's also harmless. Unreported hazards are what we should focus on here, and that's exactly what this feature does for us. Top of the screen you can see the red triangle. That will be the hazard. And there you go. It's appeared to warn you of its presence. That happens within 250 meters, and then it changes when you get to within 25 meters. Little squirrel, tiny pothole there, and there it is. Well, it is still there, but it was tiny. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt and vote yes on that one. Opinions are always going to differ on the pothole hazard warning though. I mentioned earlier about not reporting every single one. Now some people will think, well, you know, if we don't keep reporting these, they'll never get filled in. Well, the fact is that people responsible for repairing these aren't looking at this. This isn't for that purpose. This is about, you know, warning cyclists that they might come across a pothole that's going to damage their bike or even knock them off. So that's why I gave the opinion I did. Equally, others will say getting a warning about a pothole, big or small, is no bad thing, and it won't matter that there's loads of them, because it is a fairly unobtrusive warning right at the top of the screen, so it's not covering your screen or whatever. But you know, some people will switch the thing off if they're constantly bombarded with pothole warnings. So my advice is to still be sparing with those warnings. So it's later on in the ride, and the hazard warning I dropped earlier, it's just appeared at the top of the map, the little red triangle. That's interesting, it's not coming up with a message, and I'm just wondering whether that has anything to do with the fact that it was me who laid the marker, if you like, so therefore it's obvious I know about it. That's something we'd need to get Garmin to confirm, because clearly the system's working, because it warned me of the other two hazards earlier.
Garmin supporter said this might be what they called expected behaviour, but it could also be a bug. If it's because I'm the original reporter of the hazard, well, some hazards stay live for 6 months, and I'm not sure my old memory is that good. Plus, surely I should be able to confirm if the hazard is no longer there. Anyway, I'll pin a comment below the video after they get back to me to let you know what they say.
It's not for everyone. I know people who use Waze in the car but don't actually use the hazard reporting. If that's you, you're able to turn this feature off. But this has the potential to be a great safety feature, so do consider using it, as only by all of us doing that will this feature reach its full potential. And that includes, in my opinion, Garmin finding a way to make this available on more head units. I've always felt it was wrong for car manufacturers to make a safety feature an optional extra that you have to pay more for. Yeah, okay, if it's the best surround sound car music system in the world, I get that, but not for something which makes motoring safer. It should be part of the basic spec, and this is no different really. I think it's a great feature, and urge Garmin to consider the safety label it has and make it more available to more users by cascading it down to older units. I hope that was useful, and if so, why not take a look at what else is on the channel by clicking on the yellow icon here to subscribe, and there's a couple of Garmin gadgetry videos here for you to have a look to see what it's all about. Happy cycling, and I'll see you soon.